with an introduction like that, I can't wait to hear what I've got to say. So it's really a few words about this box behind me. I'm sorry, Phil, it's not a dartboard. Well, not yet anyway. Hiya.
Hi.
So it's a joint effort between Jean and I. I have to say she made me say that. As she's not here, I would have left her out, but there you go. People have always used graphic images. When I say always, I mean kind of always. Some of you will have noticed the drawings on the wall there, which are, we'd say, caveman drawings. And when people got together, that's what they did. In fact, if anybody was watching Humans, do you watch the programme Humans? It's been about the development of the human race. And the oldest temple that has been discovered is now in modern day Turkey. And there they have animals and plants and flowers and things in this temple, which is 11,000 years old. And it's probably not the earliest, but it's the earliest that's been found so far. So we've always done that. It's especially true of the church, where art, and for many generations, it was the chosen method of communication. So we tend to forget that stained glass windows were actually the way in which, for many hundreds of years, people learned their Bible. Anybody ever been to La Chapelle in Paris? La Chapelle in Paris is fantastic. If you're ever there, do go and have a look. It's worth queuing for, because it is a building almost entirely of stained glass and has the story of the whole Bible. I mean, I can't just even communicate to you the scale of this, but it is phenomenal. You have to know how to read it. Sometimes it's bottom up, and sometimes don't forget that. So this was to people who didn't read and write for many, many years. It was only the elite, as they saw themselves anyway, who would read and write, and it was the way of communicating the message. It's not just so that when the preacher is doing their stuff, the listeners have something to look at. Although there is that as well. I think sometimes we feed our thoughts different ways. So the box behind me, which is technically known in church architecture as a triptych reredos, you will all of course remember that, two Latin words that basically mean three pictures which are up the back, which is a bit odd because in every church you ever go to, they're always up the front. And the reason for that, of course, is that to you, that's the front, but it's behind me. So it's the back. It's behind. It's in many churches, you'll have a communion table here, or an altar that passes for a communion table. And a reredos was the bit behind the altar. But basically, so it means three pictures up the back, and this is what we have here. And of course, to say I'm aware that they're actually up the front. So let's have a look. Hence the three pictures which you're going to see. So the first picture on the left-hand side, this is a sermon. I'm not going to give the sermon, but it's kind of a sermon in the sense that life is hard. Life is grey. There are storms up here and so on. But there's also a silver lining. So even in the sort of darkest times, there are silver linings, there are things that you can look to for hope. So if we open the other side, the kingdom of heaven is a place of colour, a place of excitement, a place of optimism, of infinite possibilities. And paradise is just there. It's the next picture almost. I don't think we're going to do one, but so what joins the two together from the Christian point of view is the cross. So how do you go from this world, from the kingdom of the world to the kingdom of heaven? You go through the cross. It's quite interesting because I said graphics are part of the human nature, and last week we had some visitors here. They were all here before everybody else, so they wanted to have a look. So I let them have a look. And I opened it up and they said, oh yes, it's Genesis and the Gospels and then Revelation. Kind of a different way of looking at things, and in a way that's sort of the important thing. And when I say that for me it's a sermon, now I'm aware that I have said this before, but I want you to know that I'm not, as old people do, I'm not repeating myself. I'm just saying the same thing again. Good, I'm glad we cleared that up. It's completely different, completely different. And the sermon relates to my belief that Jesus only ever said and did one thing. And what he said was, the kingdom of heaven has arrived. And everything that he did, I won't deliver the sermon again, it was my sermon, so but that to me is everything that he did and everything that he said marked the start of a new beginning. It was moving, the opportunity to move from the kingdom of the world to the kingdom of heaven. And the choice is for us. And it is the greatest decision that we will ever make. James has often reminded us that we don't actually get all that many choices in life. Things happen to us, we don't pick and choose them all. But this is a choice. This is a choice for us. Am I going to live this life as a part of the kingdom of the world and struggle on? Or am I going to live this world as a citizen of the kingdom of heaven? And the difference is how we come to the cross and how we regard that. Of course, this is my sermon. And what's actually more important over time is your sermon. So what you see, what it helps you to think about, what it does for you. And yes, for the more observant, there is a green hill far away, outside the city wall, where the dear Lord was crucified, who died to save us all.